Hi, thank you so much for joining us today, and we're really excited to get to know you and hear your story. So let's start from the very beginning. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you first found out you had SMA?
Sure. So I am Jared Wayland. I am a 37-year-old male from Ontario, Canada. Um, I have been living with SMA, I guess technically my whole life, but I got diagnosed at 13. I was a pretty active young adult and kid before that. Played a lot of hockey, played a lot of golf, played a lot of baseball. And as I was getting to the age of 12, maybe 13, um, we started noticing some tremors in my hands, like a little bit of shaking. We started noticing that, especially playing hockey, if I would get knocked over on the ice, it was a little more difficult for me to get up. I would kind of lean on my stick a little more and kind of push myself up. Um, the tremors are what really led to the initial steps in getting diagnosed. We saw a family doctor originally, and then he referred us to a neurologist in our town, and then that neurologist, so this is when I was 13, terrible bedside manner, like was probably the worst intro to getting a diagnosis that you could ask for. Basically, after looking at me, said, "Okay, we think you have SMA or potentially one of these other two neuromuscular diseases. Um, here's a brochure about it, and we'll refer you to a specialist." And so for a 13-year-old kid, that was pretty shocking, pretty jarring. They weren't the nicest images in this brochure that I was given, and I remember after that when going out for lunch with my parents, with my mom and dad, and just crying because I didn't really know what was in store. There was no real explanation or anything given at that time. It was just you probably have SMA and here's this and see you later.
Wow, that's terrible, just dumping that prognosis on you.
Yeah, it's like I said, for a kid who's just kind of going into those transformative years as a teen and like just hitting puberty and stuff like that, it was a bit tough. Um, Luckily, I did get referred to a pretty good specialist in the children's neuromuscular field, so I stuck with him for quite a few years, and that's eventually where like final diagnosis happened and the biopsies and all of that genetic testing and all of that stuff. So.
If you could go back to that day, the first day that you found out you had SMA, what would you rather have someone have told you?
I just think like a little bit of better bedside manner goes a long way. Like at the end of the day, like I understand that this is what it is, but you're dealing with and this is like a doctor in her mid 50s, right? And who's been doing this a long time and probably doesn't have the time of day for anybody. But I just I kind of wish, I don't know, hindsight's hard, right? It's um I guess I just wish they would have been a little more um caring about the way they delivered the news and maybe mm, went over some of the possibilities that they're like anybody who gets diagnosed with SMA at 13, like their journey is going to be completely different, right? Like you could have two people with type 2 or two people with type 3, which is what I have, and it's not going to be the same in any way, shape, or form. So to kind of just pigeonhole you in this one group of neuromuscular diseases was kind of unfair, I think, to a 13-year-old. So um I guess I just wish I knew more of that the future wasn't as bleak looking as these photos maybe made it out to be.
Mhm. So how does SMA present for you?
So for me, like I said, I'm a type 3. Um, it has been in the grand scheme of things of SMA, like a pretty slow decline, I think, comparatively to a lot of people. Um, I was walking with a cane, like a just a regular walking cane, up until 2017. So what's that, like 8 years ago, I think, 7, 8 years ago. Um, and it was getting more and more difficult. Like I couldn't climb stairs from the time I was probably 16. Like I had a really hard time climbing stairs. Um, if I fell, like I had to be lifted up. Like getting out of a seat was kind of hard. And then when in 2017, I tripped over my own feet and I landed on my leg and I broke my tibia and my fibula. And that was kind of the end of independent walking for me. Uh, and so uh, a lot of time doing rehab and things like that. But like at the end of the day, spending 3 or 4 months bedridden to like waiting to get into rehab is not productive for somebody with SMA. So that kind of um that was really the end of my walking. And since then I've been pretty much exclusively in a power chair.
So how do you manage your symptoms and flare-ups?
So flare-ups are a weird word for me. I don't know if I necessarily call them flare-ups. I have probably good days and bad days. I definitely can get tired a lot easier than the average able-bodied person, I think. In terms of pain and stuff, I don't get a lot of pain. I might get aches and I might get days where maybe I'm a little bit weaker than others. But honestly, like how do I manage it? I just kind of keep going. Like I've had 20 almost 25 years of lived experience with SMA now. Um, and it's a constant learning curve. Like you don't stop learning about your body. You don't stop learning about things because things are constantly changing too. And so it's taken a long time, but I feel like in the last maybe we'll say the last 5 to 10 years, like I've really kind of found my it's gonna set my footing, found my wheels, I guess. I don't know. In just like there's gonna be good days and there's gonna be bad days, and that's something that comes with the territory, and like you kind of just have to live with it. Like it would be really easy for me, I think, to just kind of say, okay, you know what? Like I give up. I'm gonna stay in bed today. I'm gonna stay in bed for the week. But that doesn't benefit me. It doesn't benefit my wife. It doesn't benefit my son, who need a husband and need a dad around, right? So you just kind of you grit your teeth and you kind of just go forward and just kind of come to terms that some days are going to be better than others.
Is there any moment, like big or small, that really shifted your mindset throughout your journey that made you realize like I need to just push through?
Um, Well, I think like getting diagnosed so young, it's hard, right? Like there's a lot of expectations and peer pressure, and there's bullying in high school. There's all of that garbage that comes along with it. So, and I don't think any teenager is really equipped to deal with that stuff, able-bodied or not. Um, so again, like learning curve, like just kind of over the last 25 years, figuring out, okay, like these are my people. Like what kind of people do I like to be around? And my family has been so supportive. And like I've from day one, my family's been fantastic. And now like I've been with my wife. We've been together for 8+ years. And I mean, that is probably what really propelled the change. Um, because like we met a couple months before I broke my leg, right? So she knew me for a few months when I was still kind of walking around, not great, but I was still getting around on my own a little more independently. And then she stuck with me through all the stuff in the hospitals and through kind of my rehab and kind of the transition to a chair. Um, and yes, she's really enabled me to see the positives in it. And um, I mean, I want to give her the best me possible every day. And now with a kid involved, like I want him to have the best me possible every day. So, um, yeah, like just kind of honestly, like it might sound cliche, but just like time and slowly finding your groove and slowly finding your place and slowly coming to terms with things. Like at the end of the day, I have SMA, I'm disabled. That's not going anywhere. So my at some point, like I chose to just embrace that and kind of say, this is me. And if you don't like it, then listen, I don't need you around, and that's fine. I don't have to deal with your emotions and your problems. Um, so yeah, I guess just becoming a lot more comfortable in myself.
I think that's really empowering.
No, thank you.
Are there any like specific support systems that have really helped you out? You said your wife, the other doctor that you got.
Yeah, so like I have a great I'm not with the same doctor that I was with when I got diagnosed. He focuses primarily on pediatrics. Um, but like I have a great health team around me. Like everything from my family doctor to my specialist are great. Um, my family has been fantastic. My mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, my wife's family, more than helpful, more than supportive, from day one. Just kind of and my friends, like I have the same group of friends that I've had for years, and like these are my people, right? And so just trying to stay grounded in myself and not be afraid to ask for help when I need it, which was, I mean, as a young kid was kind of hard to do. You never want to ask for help, but like I said, like this is it. This is what I have. This is what I'm dealing with, and um, yeah, just again, and it's taken 25 years, and we're still working on it, but just more comfortable with myself every day, kind of thing. This is me.
What's something that a lot of people say with good intentions, but it's not really helpful to you, especially growing up. But like, what's something you wish someone would have told you instead?
Um, I mean, you still get it. Even I'm 37 now, and like some of the comments that people make are crazy. Like I've never really understood the you're so inspirational, like you're an inspiration to us because I mean, why? Like I'm living the same way you do, just like slightly differently. Um, so that one, there's a lot of people who are like adamant that they need to help you or that you do need help, even if you say no, like I'm okay, I'm good. Like they just feel like because you're disabled, they need to kind of step in. Um, so like I don't know, I wish that and like I said, hindsight's kind of hard, but and it's hard for kids, but like take somebody for what they are at face value. Like I'm my disease is part of me, right? But it's not all of me. And once I came to terms with that, it was a lot easier for me to navigate. Like these are not people I want to be around. These are toxic people. Um, or like everything's gonna be okay. Or like I've had people come up and say, "Oh, like we'll pray for you." Like all of this stuff that just doesn't really sit right with me, and that's fine. That's their prerogative. They can do what they want, but I honestly like 25 years into it, I don't have the time for it. So it's just yeah, it's you still deal with it. It never really goes away. So
Are there any things that you use to ground yourself, like any self-care practices that help you get through the hard days?
um I mean like now it's my son and my wife. I've got a 3.5-year-old boy here who needs his dad and needs the best dad that he can get every day. And I mean, it sounds silly, but you don't realize it, I don't think, until you actually have a kid, how much something like that changes you, and how much these three, like me, my wife, and my kid, like that's priority number one for me. Like SMA is just kind of a little facet now how we live. It's part of our everyday life. Honestly, it's not something that I think about too much. Like I used to do a fair bit of advocacy work and a fair bit of like speaking engagements and things like that in regards to like the SMA or the neuromuscular community. But since we've had our kid, it's just kind of been like, okay, like that's not my focus anymore, and this is my focus. Just reminding myself that even though things might look a little differently or be done a little differently, there's still a lot of these things that I can do. And SMA has also, in a weird way, like afforded me a lot of opportunities I don't think I would have had otherwise, whether that's meeting people or going places or doing things. And I think like if you could put me back to 13 now, like at diagnosis, and they say, okay, you can you can be cured, like you don't have SMA, but nothing in your life is the same going forward. Like you have to relive the next 25 years. Like I wouldn't change it for a heartbeat. Like I'm really grateful and thankful and um happy with how my life is. Like I don't think I've ever been happier in my life than I am now. And that's it's nice. Like it's good.
Yeah, that's honestly great. And how do you advocate for yourself in like a medical setting or in reality, like in everyday life?
So I one of the nice things about SMA is that like cognitively, I'm still where I should be. Like it luckily hasn't affected anything other than my muscles, right? So I I'm somebody who knows what I want, and I'm somebody that if I'm not getting that, like you're gonna know. Um, I've been doing things for 25 years with SMA. So like I obviously have my ways of doing things and ways I need help and ways that I want things to look. Um and I'm aware of that. And sometimes like especially in like health settings, like I think you kind of get put into this box of okay, you have a disability, so maybe you're not able to advocate for yourself. Um, but you have to, like, otherwise, that's when trouble starts. So just like not, not, not settling on an answer just for the sake of it. Like, if it's not what you want to hear from a doctor, like, go get second opinions and ask the questions and go to your friends and family and see what they think and just kind of leave all your doors open um to everything really, like honestly. Yeah, was that the question? Did I answer
Yeah,
that? Yeah, okay,
you answered perfectly.
perfect.
How has your experience with SMA influenced your goals and dreams for the future, especially since you got it at such a young or diagnosed at such a young age? And you said that you got a lot of opportunities you never would have had originally. How did it influence the way your outcome of life turned out?
Sure. So like I think like if you would have asked young me, like there's the careers that I probably wanted to go into. Like I always wanted to be a chef. I thought being a chef would be a great job. Um, when it when you're in high school and you have to start like actively thinking about the rest of your life, which I mean is too young to start thinking about that. I don't think people know at that point, but like I knew that a chef career was not going to be practical for me, right? Like hours on your feet, long hours, uh, kitchens with stuff all over the floor, spills on the floor, lifting heavy pans, all of that stuff. So, okay, so that's something I can do at home, and that's something I can enjoy in my own time and kind of in ways that work for me. So, like, I love to cook, right? But I'm not gonna have a career as a chef. That's just the truth. But I am a creative person. I like being creative, so I started to think of other things, and um, graphic design has always been kind of like a passion of mine, like art and graphic design. And so once I started like kind of getting into that more again, like as a young teen, it was something that I just kind of sunk my teeth into, and that developed into my career today. Like I'm a creative director at a marketing company, right? And that's fantastic. And so no, like I'm not going to be the next NHL star. I'm not going to go play professional golf like I wanted to. Not that I would have anyway, but um yeah, you just have to kind of like again, like finding your people, you just kind of find things that you're interested in and find your passion and really sink your teeth into it. And like I said, like there's going to be adaptations for all of this stuff that you have to make. But just be willing to work at it and kind of adapt as necessary and don't let people tell you that, oh, you can't do this job just because of your SMA. So
Yeah. I like the way that you didn't let it stop you at all and just continued going. That's honestly great.
yeah, I tried. I mean, I have my days, right? Like even still, but yeah, for the most part I try and come at it with a glass half full um viewpoint.
Has talking to other people with SMA or other neuromuscular disorders helped you at all?
Absolutely. Like I remember when I was diagnosed 25 years ago. So that's what, like the year 2000, 2001, somewhere in there. I think it was 2001, maybe. Um, the internet was nowhere near like it is today. Like phones were nowhere like they are today. Um, so like actually coincidentally, like the people that my doctor put my parents in touch with were in Texas. And like we're up here and like they're communicating via email, right? Like so it's not even instant or like a phone call or whatever, however they were doing that. Um, but in the last like 10 years, like you've really started to see a sense of community among the neuromuscular community like develop. So there's support groups and there's conferences and there's just like people you meet who you continue to talk to and chat to. Like um I have more than a few colleagues and friends who have SMA or maybe other neuromuscular diseases. And it's not like we sit around talking about our SMA all the time, but it's like these people who have this similar lived experiences. And it's always nice to have those people in your corner. Um, so yeah, I definitely think talking to people and finding these people and being a part of these communities has definitely helped.
What's a common misconception that a lot of people assume about your SMA that you really wish people really understood?
Um, Well, an easy one for me is like I think a lot of people kind of think that they can't live life to their fullest because they're disabled. And one example that comes to mind immediately is like dating and relationships. Um, I feel like a lot of people, and we'll use SMA specifically, feel like maybe they're not worthy of a relationship with somebody, or like they're never going to find a partner because there's so much care involved and all of this. And I definitely went through the motions with a lot of that, like when I was younger. Um, and I had a lot of great learning experiences, a lot of terrible learning experiences dating. Um, and then I met somebody like my wife, and it just kind of, you don't expect it, and you didn't know it was coming, and then it just kind of all fell into place. And yeah, like I mean, I it's fantastic. Like you can definitely date, you can definitely have these fulfilling relationships and things like that.